Hey guys, and I know I haven't been making NBA content, but guess what? I'm starting now. NBA content is alive because the playoffs. I never told you guys that I actually support basketball a lot as well, but I do. I'm a Clippers fan, but we're out of the playoffs, so I don't. I'm still excited for the playoffs. And why don't I just start? Western Conference goes first, of course, because support teams from the Western Conference is more interesting. Now, first game. First seed versus A seed, Houston Rockets against Minnesota Timberwolves. I feel like the Timberwolves could cause an upset here, but the Rockets will prevail for me. James Harden, he might choke in the playoffs, but I think that he won pretty much going to win the MVP. For the regular season, and first seed of Houston Rockets, who we were very surprised with, who are also with Chris Paul. I think that they'll win, even though the Timberwolves have Jimmy Butler back. Andrew Wiggins is overrated, so let's not talk about him. But Cat and Jimmy Butler will be very vital for the Timberwolves, and they could upset here. But I think the Rockets will definitely be victorious in this first round. Fixture, James Harden and Chris Paul, those two backcourt players are very vital for the Houston Rockets, and I think they will prevail over the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games. Now, moving on to the second game, Golden State Warriors against the San Antonio Spurs. I feel like the Spurs are going to get defeated. I think they're going to get swept by the Warriors because even though the Warriors do not have Stephen Curry, it doesn't seem that Kawhi is going to be back, and I feel like San Antonio Spurs, it's a miracle that they actually made it in the playoffs this season because they were without Kawhi like almost the whole season, and they aren't a very good 3-point shooter, and they got the 7th seed this season, so I think so as I've said, I felt like the San Antonio Spurs were going to get swept by the Golden State Warriors. KD for the Warriors is going to be absolutely vital, and also Klay Thompson. His threes will be very vital for the Warriors, and only the Marcus Aldridge for the Spurs will not be enough for them, and I think the Warriors will win this in 4. Now, moving on, the Portland Trail Blazers against the New Orleans Pelicans. That's a very tight affair because the Blazers, they ended the season pretty poorly. They were on a 4-game losing streak until they beat the Jazz to secure the 3rd seed at the end of the season. But the Trail Blazers, I feel like they will not progress against the New Orleans Pelicans. Anthony Davis is going to be a main player for the Pelicans. Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are very good players. Lillard, Dame, of course, really good at the threes, and they're gonna have to rely on him as well as McCollum. But the same for the Pelicans, they're gonna have to rely on Anthony Davis. They do not have Boogie; he's injured for the rest of this year, as we've all known. And I feel like the Pelicans will win the series because even though Damian Lillard has more experience in the playoffs, Anthony Davis has only played 4 games in the playoffs and he's lost all of them. But I think the Pelicans will win this one in 7. Now, we're going on to the final game of the Western Conference first round. We have the Jazz against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, this one's going to be pretty tight affair as well. Oklahoma City, Russell Westbrook is a brilliant player, but he is a bit overrated. And Paul George, he was very good at the start of this year, but he declined a little bit after the All-Star break, and I don't think they'll beat the Jazz. I think they're going to go out in the first round of the playoffs. Russell Westbrook, Paul George won't be enough. Carmelo Anthony is also overrated, and he isn't that good anymore. He's very, very old. And I think Steven Adams will be a big factor though for Oklahoma City, especially that he's against Rudy Gobert, who's one of the best defenders in the league, or maybe even the best. The Jazz, the 5th seed, will progress over the Oklahoma City Thunder in 7. Okay, so we're going to move on to the East with the first team. So we're going to have Raptors against the Wizards. So Raptors, we're really surprised by that because we did not expect them to finish in the 1st seed with DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry as their main 2 players. But the Raptors, I think they will progress over the Washington Wizards, who have been a disappointment this year. They finished in the 8th seed, which we didn't expect because with John Wall, Bradley Beal, and Otto Porter Jr., who's a very underrated player. Bradley Beal and John Wall, we thought they would be the main men and thought they would be really good, but Bradley Beal came a little bit overrated this year. John Wall, his injuries. So I think the Toronto Raptors will beat the Washington Wizards, but it won't be easy for the Toronto Raptors because they're a bit inconsistent, especially in the playoffs. In the regular season, they were excellent, but I'm not sure about in the playoffs. And the Raptors, I think, will progress here though against the Wizards, who have been a disappointment this year. I think they'll progress in 6 games. Now, here's my surprise: Boston Celtics against the Milwaukee Bucks. That one's going to be actually a very tight one because the Celtics lost Kyrie. They don't have Gordon. We all knew that. Gordon was out for the whole year. Kyrie is out for 6 months. So he won't be available for the playoffs for the Celtics. And that's going to be a huge loss because their only player left is Horford. And they've got no one else. Maybe Jason Tatum is decent, but that's not amazing. And they will need more good players for the playoffs, and especially against the Bucks, who have Giannis, Chris Middleton. Bucks are a very underrated team, and Giannis, he's already amazing, and he's only at the age of 23. Don't forget that. And I think that the Bucks will win in this game because the Celtics just aren't really strong right now. They don't have Kyrie, and I think the Bucks will progress in 7. Now the 3rd seed against the 6th seed, we've got the Philadelphia 76ers. That's a huge surprise. I did not expect them to make the playoffs with that young team. Obviously, they got Markelle Fultz back, who made a triple-double in the final game of the season. And I feel like, it's going to be a very, very... It won't be a very tight affair, but I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I just think that the 76ers will progress over the Heat. And the Sixers... Well, Joel Embiid's going to miss the first game, it seems like, but he could come back for the next few games, so that's going to be very good. Obviously, Philadelphia could have a very good year. The Sixers could reach the conference finals, and then the Philadelphia Eagles of the NFL won the Super Bowl, so Philadelphia should be a happy city right now. But I feel like the Sixers are going to win this one in 5 against the Heat. And even though the Sixers don't have much experience in the playoffs, while the Heat do, the Sixers, I think, will definitely progress. Now, the final game of the Eastern Conference, we've got the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Indiana Pacers. And I'm sorry, Indiana, but they're also a big surprise because after that Paul George trade, we didn't expect them to reach the playoffs. We didn't expect Victor Oladipo to be a boss this year. Okay, we expected them to be 10th, 11th seed, the Pacers. And we expected some other teams to make it, maybe the Pistons or the Hornets. But no, they made it. They actually made it. The Indiana Pacers got the 5th seed. They could have became higher, but I'm sorry, Indiana, because you have to face Cleveland and LeBron, which is the worst that could possibly happen. The Pacers, they're a good side, but you're not beating the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm sorry about that, Indiana Pacers, or Indiana fans, everyone of the Indiana Pacers. I'm sorry, but I think you're gonna lose in 5 against the Cavaliers, who will progress to the NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors. But I'm not gonna predict the whole playoffs for now. I'm only gonna predict the first round. But yeah, that's it for my 2018 first round NBA playoff predictions. And if you want me to make more NBA videos, then suggest me to in the comment section down below. And thanks so much for watching my first NBA video. Peace.